What's up, everybody, and welcome back to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in-game news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. That's the one, the only Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what's happening, buddy?
Oh, well, we made it through quite a weekend.
Woo!
There was Canada Day, finished off with the 4th of July. I observed a little bit of that, and oh man, I'm tired out.
Yeah, we're back to work so we can recover, man. That's how it always works.
That's right. Oh, and if I ever enter a cage match fighting arena, I need you to be my announcer.
That's yeah, for sure.
You've nailed the job.
I want it. Awesome. Dude, coming up on today's show, are we going to get a PlayStation State of Play this week? Google Stadia is looking for more devices, and Oculus could be going on an Oculus Quest Pro version. We'll be talking about that all today. And of course, you can join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG as well as YouTube. But if you can't join us live, it's no big deal. Hit us up later, InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, let's get into it, buddy, because I want to talk about it. We're talking about why Sony fans should keep an eye on tomorrow. That's right. Sony hasn't attended an E3 in quite some time, and it seems unlikely to ever return. Unfortunately, Scott, I don't think PlayStation's ever coming back, man.
That's a shame, really.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it's ever going to happen, which is too bad. But instead, though, it seems more reliant than ever on the State of Play to communicate important video game information to fans. This is partially why the rumors of a State of Play on July 8th seems legit. It's more than time for one of these little State of Plays. Thus far, there has been 3 State of Plays this year. February 25th featured several games, including Returnal and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. April 29th featured Ratchet and Clank, Among Us, and Subnautica Below Zero. I believe that one. We actually, Steve and I reviewed that over on InsideTheGame.ca, so make sure you check that out. And then on May 27th was a huge focus on Horizon Forbidden West. Each of these events took place on a Thursday. So, they also, take note, Scott, were announced 2 days prior to when that was actually revealed. So, tomorrow could be a big day. PlayStation could be announcing tomorrow because it kind of lines up in that time span. But the biggest question is, Scott, what do they have to showcase? For many of us, of course, the big question is not when they'll know what the rumors are legit, but what they'll see at the next State of Play. Rumors suggest a big surprise will be there, which many have taken as the next God of War. Dude, I'd be shocked if we saw anything from God of War to be there.
Yeah, I think, well, that was the topic of debate maybe several months ago about God of War, and I think the resulting answer was it will come when it's ready.
Pretty much. It has just been delayed, right? So it's we're not going to see that anytime soon. But what we can kind of keep an eye on, I think what we're more likely to see is Ghost of Tsushima, the director's cut, Deathloop, and maybe Ghostwire Tokyo. Ooh, dude, well, what about the other game too, Scott? Stray, one you're looking at.
Yeah, no, I want to see more about Ghostwire Tokyo and Stray. I'm pretty sure I remembered that one, and that looked good. I like that little BitTune cat.
That's it. Yeah.
I want to know more. And here's my throw out prediction, because I always have to do this.
Sure.
I have to give my garbage take. What about Resistance?
Well, you can keep what about, you know what, man, honestly, could you imagine? So they own Insomniac, right? So if all of a sudden, I don't think you see any gameplay, it could be maybe in development. I don't see it. But what about just the logo come across the screen? Wouldn't that'd be enough to tie over and fans would explode, wouldn't they?
They would, but in Resistance fashion, I think they would have a staged trailer ready to go that unfortunately doesn't make it into the game. But any news in that front would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people banking on God of War. I think we're too soon to see anything on God of War. I think they're going to push that. Like they said, they've already delayed it to 2025. Horizon Forbidden West is still a possibility of getting delayed to 2025 as well. We are hoping, when our fingers are crossed, for a holiday launch. I think that is really where we're kind of the most hopeful. But for the next State of Play, possibility of an announcement tomorrow, and with then the actual State of Play being on Thursday, which would make a lot of sense, and it would kind of go in the same time frame as where we've seen it in the past. So this would be the fourth one this year. Really? Man, that's a lot since February, honestly. So we'll see what happens. It's because of no E3 presence, I think they have to do something. They were just with Horizon Forbidden West just before E3, right? Coming in May 27th is when that one was launched. And we got a good look, like a good inside look of what we can get with Aloy and what her next adventure is going to look like. And man, I was pumped when we were over with that state of play. 20 minutes always seems so short, though, Scott.
It does. It does in our case, and it does when we're watching things like something as exciting as that is. And I'm watching the gameplay that's being shown now, and I'm getting excited all over again because
Man.
I was a surprise fan of Horizon Zero Dawn. I knew it was cool, but I'm in for the next one.
No, absolutely. So we'll see if we get an announcement tomorrow and what we can hopefully see in the future when it comes to PlayStation. But God of War is not one I'm expecting. I think the director's cut for Ghost of Tsushima is there because they're going to have a whole new island. Sucker Punch has now said that they are developing the DLC to go alongside with the director's cut and bring us a new island to explore. So we're going to see more action from Jin and what that looks like. So I think the next state of play could be heavily focused along with Ghost of Tsushima, man. I think that's really where it's going to lie.
Oh, that would be very exciting for me also. And I'm not the person they make these presentations for, but I've been excited for the last few. And if this one has Ghost of Tsushima in it, I want to see more of that game. I wish I could get my hands on that game, really. But to see that take off as a series of its own is really, really positive.
Absolutely. Ghost of Tsushima, I think, is on its way to PC. I don't know if I heard rumors of that or if I actually saw that or what's going on, but I think that would be the next game that they launch on a PlayStation to hit the PC side of things and come to Steam and things like that, right? So we'll see where that goes. And now we're also kind of looking, Scott, where does the future lie for Google Stadia? Could it be coming to a lot more devices in the future? Spotted by 9 to 5 Google, the listing for a product manager for Stadia makes a number of references to expanding the game streaming service, in particular, making cloud gaming available on more devices and working to scale the ecosystem of devices that support the requirements of Stadia.
Okay, so my first initial reaction to that is, first of all, what is there really left for them to get to? I'm not aware of devices that you can't play Stadia on.
Yeah.
And does this mean I can unbury my BlackBerry?
No, I wouldn't think so. But TVs are specifically mentioned in the job listing, and smart TVs are definitely one area that Google Stadia could expand into. Last month, the service was made available on a select number of Android TV devices for the first time, including the NVIDIA Shield TV, Scott.
Well, I had forgotten there's a whole. I still remember that there's a whole market of smart TVs that are available. You can plug an Ethernet right into it. That's still new technology to me that I forget about.
Absolutely. What's certain is that Google is facing an increasing level of competition in the game streaming business. Amazon Luna and NVIDIA GeForce Now are serious rivals, while Xbox Cloud Gaming from Microsoft recently expanded its list of compatible devices to include Windows PCs and Apple devices as well. Having originally been available on Android, the Chromecast Ultra, and through the Chrome browser, Stadia has since made the jump to iOS and iPad OS in web app form as well. And Scott, they're also looking at being on next-gen consoles. Dude, I cannot see you playing a Stadia game on your Xbox or your PS5.
I think that's quite ambitious, but it seems like what they're going for is just mass coverage, just being available everywhere. That does seem like the very unlikely to use on those devices, but
absolutely, it's we've been watching Stadia since the beginning, Scott. Especially you and I, right? We've been there right from day one. They announced the device. We instantly pre-ordered ours, and then we saw a bunch of missteps and backsteps along the way, and how that's all kind of going for Stadia. And then the biggest shock was the closure of Stadia Games and Entertainment, and now the livelihood of Stadia is based upon third-party and second-party developers coming in and having that content on Stadia. The biggest lack, though, Scott, the biggest thing that we're always missing now at this point is going to be a first-party studio title.
Yes, we always fall back to that one, and it's unfortunate that they didn't keep moving forward with their
Man,
production line. They seem to be in good hands, and
sure did.
it just unfortunately didn't produce much.
No, and in fact, we didn't see anything at all, right? Jade Raymond was there, and now she's gone, formed off her own studio over at Haven Studios, and brought a lot of people with her because those people were hired on to develop first-party titles for Stadia. Never happened. Nor the Nerdcast joins us live over at twitch.tv/the official ITG, just like you can, says Stadia on my toaster. Make it so.
Coming to toasters and microwaves very soon.
That's right. So we'll see where the future lies with Stadia. They need at this point to be on as many devices as possible. And I think, honestly, like in the next couple of weeks, dude, I've got a few reviews coming up that are on Stadia. I still feel that Stadia is a fantastic platform. Absolutely loving it. I'm waiting for my experience with Siege on Stadia. I think that's really going to be the testament of how well Stadia works. And obviously, Stadia is a streaming platform. So what's that mean? It means how good is your internet? Because the last thing you need in playing Rainbow Six Siege is to be out a little bit of lag and lose your shot, right? Like, it's just, you get outbeat by somebody else because of latency within the platform. That's really going to be the testament of how well does this thing actually work. And we've seen it run really, really well over the last few years, but I've also seen it go from real picture perfect to all of a sudden pixelated all across my screen.
So, yeah, Siege, while played on a 480 TV, would be quite different, especially if you get just that half a second of delay. That could really be an issue. So I'm very curious to see how you feel about that title specifically. Siege is kind of our go-to shooter, so
absolutely,
if it can survive on Stadia, though, that's a testament to the ability of Stadia. And we've watched it come from kind of its fruition to now, and I feel like it's more of a force in the industry than it is standing on its own 2 feet. I think it is absolutely capable of standing as a company, as a service.
Yeah.
But they've also kind of seemingly kicked Xbox into gear with their cloud service now, and I believe PlayStation's kind of making that move, so it's changing the industry in one way or the other.
I think streaming is the next step in gaming for everybody because it's that easy, right? I got my phone, I have a Google Pixel phone, and I bought my phone on the premise that I will have Stadia. So when my Stadia arrived, right, my Stadia controller taps into my phone and away I go. At the time, my phone was the only thing that could run Stadia besides my TV and things like that, right? So on a mobile platform, I couldn't play it on my iPad at all, which I now can, right? That's the other beauty part about this. I can now play it on my iPad through the Safari app. So, like, you have a dedicated app on your phone, but you don't have the ability to have the dedicated app over on Apple just yet because there's a bit of a store. I think there's like a storefront issue there. I'm not sure what behind the scenes look like, but Apple and Stadia aren't exactly working hand in hand like I'd hope they would be when they're with their own app. I just want to be able, dude, I just want to hit my Stadia app and play the game on the device. It's that simple, right? But that's the best part about Stadia. Dude, like on my Xbox right now, I'm constantly deleting stuff to reinstall other things or install new stuff.
Yeah,
and Stadia,
that's a big problem.
Man, Stadia is just my library, and that's it, right? The minute I go, okay, code is entered, I'm done, or I purchased the game and I'm good to go, and that's it. I just hit the game, hit the play, and I'm playing the game. There's a load time, just like any other game you wait for and you play, but once you get in, dude, you're in. And away you go. But no longer am I fighting a storage capacity issue, which is constantly for next-gen consoles right now. PS5, no space. Xbox Series X, no space, right?
Yeah, well, and there's another effect to that, too. You don't have to ever experience like a hard stop with an update. How many times have you gone to go play a game it's been a few months, but hey, somebody's online. I'll join. Oh, never mind.
Nope.
So that's a problem that Stadia has totally alleviated.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just, this is what I mean. Like, this to me is the future. And that's why you suddenly see Xbox dive in so quickly with the Project X Cloud, which is now Xbox Cloud Gaming Services. So you'll see that. And now it's bundled in with Xbox Ultimate Game Pass as well. So you're like, dude, Xbox is all over this. PlayStation right now falling behind. So I think in the very near future, Dude, what if that's the state of play?
Oh, that would be a very interesting one. I think that might be a very good prediction,
Wow.
even if it's just an announcement.
Can you
That
imagine?
we intend to enter this market. That would still just rock the industry.
It would be something else to see, right? Like that would be incredible to see PlayStation go, "Hey, we've seen you play PlayStation Now. Yeah, you can stream these games, but I know it's not the service you're actually looking for. Here's PlayStation Now 2.0." And then they just launch a brand new title of whatever they call this product that they're going to launch, and now it's their streaming platform, and it's how you play the Stadia of PlayStation, right? And that's what I think what's coming next for PlayStation. Yeah, we're definitely waiting on more PS5s, but that's a whole other different game. But I think that's where PlayStation right now sees everybody getting into the streaming world, right? And Jim Ryan's like, we don't see this model working. I'm like, well, no, we see that model working. We see Game Pass working. We see all these things now lining up for the future of what it does for games. And I think the best part about it too, Scott, is actually kind of preserving games at the same time, right? Because no longer, if you do, you lose the console. You just have a platform, and I think that's where you're able to hold these games. So you don't have to worry about like PSP dying. You don't have to worry about PlayStation Vita, right? Things like that, because they're on a cloud service. They just sit there, and you always have
Yeah,
access.
I've since after 360, I've since fallen out of Titanfall 1, which we may touch on later. But it's
Maybe,
just unfortunate that I can't go back to that very easily.
yeah,
And I suppose I could, but it's just, yeah, I have a new console now. It's not kind of
right.
something I think about. But if you just open up your Stadia library, that library
It's
doesn't
right
change.
there.
You have those forever, seemingly. I hope, unless they announce some sort
Well,
of expiry, but that would be silly.
yeah, we have yet to see anything along those lines be announced, but we're still in the infancy stage for Stadia as well, right? So I'm definitely curious to see where the future holds for that. But man, dude, I love Stadia. I absolutely love it. I think it's a fantastic platform. I just wish they would have kept their first party studio development.
Yeah, that's the big disappointment in the whole experience. But other than that, totally solid.
No, absolutely. Scott, let's move on to some Oculus Quest Pro coming, maybe, sort
Hmm.
of announced, teased. Let's get into it. Oculus Quest 2 is heading toward mainstream adaptation, and Facebook's executives in charge of VR strategy have dropped hints surrounding a Quest Pro. In early
Hmm.
2021, Facebook's head of VR and AR, Andrew Bosworth, said Quest 2 is going to be in the market for a long while, but also referred to the idea of a Quest Pro as a forthcoming VR headset that's likely to introduce new functionality to his platform. Quest Pro won't be out in 2021, with Quest 2
Hmm.
geared to be the best bet for the most accessible way to get into VR and have great experiences. Dude, I personally love my Quest 2. I think it's fantastic. The ability now to cut that cord has been a definite game changer. I now take it all over the house, which
Yeah,
is
that's really
cool.
cool. It's been a while since I've been in VR,
Sure.
but I've also only experienced two VRs. And one was the PlayStation VR, which I was actually very impressed with,
Yep.
and I have in my Oculus Rift. And but that cord, you just said it, and I almost forgot that was a problem. That does get quite annoying.
It
You kind
does.
of lose track of it, or you have to devote some of your limited RAM space to remember where the cord is and where you are in the room. So
Yep.
no, it's great that they cut that cord. But I have one one question.
Okay.
Do you think it's going to be the Quest Pro, or do you think it's going to be the Super Quest?
No, it's not gonna be no Super Quest. Get out of here. That's all Facebook has said that its ambitions for Quest Pro headset won't be available to consumers in 2021. Near term, the company is looking to build out a software platform on the Quest 2 while assuring potential buyers that the device won't be replaced anytime soon. The Quest 2 is seeing enhancements in the world of AR as well as hand tracking. And the next step for
Ooh.
the Quest Pro is to enhance those abilities, because we'll see this review come up in the near future. I'm actually reviewing a game that requires hand tracking, and to be honest, it sucks. It really just sucks. So they're like, actually use hand tracking. The other day, I didn't have my controllers, but my VR headset was on. So I pulled up my hand, dude, and you pull it up and you pinch, and I pinched it and turned it off. Like it's accessible in some things, but when it comes to the game side of things, it doesn't seem to have the functionality, and it doesn't seem to work yet.
Now, can you imagine, sorry, playing the climb but only hand tracking instead of controllers?
Dude, that'd be
That would
sick.
give you just another level of immersion, right? It's the hands you're seeing. That would
Yeah.
be a great use.
That'd be very cool. Yeah. Facebook started defining the standalone product category in 2018 with Go, found the sweet spot with Quest in 2019, and improved on price and weight with Quest 2 in 2020. In 2021, Facebook is focusing on building out the software platform with new game releases and monthly updates to the Oculus Quest system software. So far, that's meant the addition of first-party wireless PC VR support, which is awesome to hear, improved hand tracking, and the first pieces of an infinite office that will enable working from anywhere. And not to mention the competitors like Sony and Apple may be ready to jump in with dramatic new features in the near future. We already know PlayStation's working on the PSVR 2, which has a big leap forward from PlayStation VR 1, because man, that was rocky, dude. Like it's
Well, and it's been quite on, like, so on in years now since the initial release of the PlayStation VR. So
big time.
I don't want to say it's about time, but it's a good time to bring out a new version.
I think so, right? I think the problem with PlayStation is they developed the PlayStation 5. So you can't launch a PlayStation 5 and then all of a sudden expect everybody to jump in and buy the PSVR 2 at the same time, right? We're already spending enough money on one product. Now you want us to buy two at the same time? Where Oculus is in a different field, that this is what they do. So now, if you're into the world of VR, you already know who Oculus is. You have last gen system. It's like upgrading, Scott, from your PS4 to your PS5, right? Or your Xbox One to your Xbox Series X. This is what Oculus is doing. They had the Quest, then they have Quest 2, and then probably next year will be the Quest Pro. That's my prediction. I would expect a new Quest following with better hand tracking, better AI or AR movement. What's happening right now is when you have what they call a guardian. If you're not familiar with the world of VR, the way it works is you set your surroundings. So that way when you pass that the surroundings, the barrier kind of, this like mesh-like screen pops up. And when you go past that, it disconnects you from the game. But with the Quest 2, it actually puts you into the real world. And right now, it's currently all black and white. But what they're looking at doing with the Quest Pro, from what rumors are speculating, is actually when you jump past that boundary, what they call their guardian, you get into a colored real AR experience. So what you see in AR games for your phone is what you can see when you break that barrier in the Quest Pro, which I think is a cool addition. And the hand tracking would be a nice major improvement. What happens right now is if you cross your fingers, you cross your hands, you get disconnected. They lose the hand tracking because you're burying out of the sensors, because there's like 4 sensors on the Quest. So when you cross your hands, it doesn't recognize the difference in the depth of your hands at all. So there's a couple things they're still working to improve. The Quest, you know what? So I bought the original Oculus Rift. So going from that to the Quest 2 was a major leap forward. So I'm definitely curious to see where the Quest Pro is going to take us next, Scott.
I'm really hoping that the next iteration of Oculus that I buy, I have the Rift. Yeah, I have the Oculus Rift, and that just, if I could run an Unreal Engine 5 game on something like that,
Yep.
I think that's the next level of VR, where it's just, if it looks just as good as your video game, that's amazing.
Absolutely. Scott, there's one you just added right to the bottom of the doc. Why did you get to that? Just because it is, like you said, it is time sensitive. So I want to get to that, and then we're going to close out the show for today, buddy.
All right. Well, I discovered this through Twitter mainly last night, as it just kind of the situation has been developing surrounding Apex being hacked. Apex was rendered unplayable via a DDoS attack, and there is a motive behind it. It's quite an interesting situation. So it seems that Titanfall 1 has been kind of compromised by hackers and made it just about unplayable. And a lot of people have really been petitioning for Respawn to kind of fix that situation, whether, put up new servers or better defenses or whatever it is, but get that game back online. And they have, for, I believe it's about 2 years, have just kind of ignored that call. They're not very interested. They're focused on Apex. So a hacking team has
Hacked Apex.
now hacked Apex. Yeah.
There you go.
And when you're trying to log in, the servers are offline, you're met with a message that says save Titanfall. And I believe it has a website attached to that
Wow.
for more information as well. But it's almost a ransomware attack where they really are trying to force Respawn to fix Titanfall 1,
That's
which I would like to see them fix Titanfall 1. I don't know if I agree with their methodology.
no, that's definitely going to the extreme, Scott. But dude, that's gonna wrap up today's show. Everybody, this has been ITG Daily. Thank you for hanging out with us. And you can always join us live over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube. But if you can't join us live, hit us up over at insidethegame.ca. Catch us later on podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see you tomorrow inside the game.